Hello? Hello, hello, hello. It's me, the person who is doing stuff. In stuff and or things occasionally, but it is time to begin. Okay, so last time Okay. It is last time what we were doing is that we were trying to figure out a way to locate the walls of the collision mesh and find its edges. All within this. So at export our mesh instance 2, say mesh instance 3D, connected to here. And what is this one? This one is all the way over here. You are now Fred 2. Happy birthday, Fred 2. Right boundary for boundary 2 is equal to this. Print boundary 2. So yeah, these are exactly the same in terms of scale and position, what is responsible for, which confuses me because if I take this and I scale this one up significantly and do it again, that doesn't change. What about this? Which I'm just going to steal off the internet, I'm going to be honest. Bounds is not declared. Okay. There we go. Oh, right. I'm pressing all the right buttons today. Okay, 2, -4. If I go here and I just... This is... God. I have no idea what's causing that, but I do know that it's causing something. Is my microphone still working? My microphone should still be working. I have created an edit or a changing to how it sounds and or what I can hear, because I get a really annoying buzzing sound whenever whenever I plug my headphones into a different way. Okay, so the player's current transform is right there. Minus right here, we're at -8. Wait a minute. X is that direction, so that is at about 2. And -2, -4. So that is that. So that is essentially giving me the middle of this wall. What about the middle of the wall all the way on the left? So if I do 0 and bounds dot end dot y, and I ran it, it's X, Y, and then final one is Z, right? Yeah. So the question is that is -4 again. Wait, Y is vertical, so it should be, no, it's at 0 dot Z. Okay. 1.6, 0.4. Okay, so that final edge is at 1.6, 0.4. Yeah, that found that edge. That finds the... If I find the middle of this edge and the middle of the, how do you see it? If I find the middle of this edge, of this wall right over here, and I find the middle of this wall right over here, I could find the corner, but that starts to be a little weird, so I can... And that would essentially allow me to find the corner every single time. The exact mathematical corner, which I would be able to peer around. Which is what I'm thinking about right now. Well, this is the first time I've done this, because I said I edited my audio. So if I go to my channel, what does it sound like? Should be able to hear things, but I don't think I am capable of hearing things right now. Wonderful. I have no idea if it's coming through. I have no idea if my audio from my computer... it's... I mean, it says it's coming along. What happens if I plug my headphones all together? I don't know how audio works. Okay. Hello? Yeah, it should be working. I don't know. I feel like I'm losing it a little bit, but it should be working. Okay. So, the question is my thought process complete insanity of a lunatic? And there's probably much, much easier ways to come up with the same solution when you're not completely insane. Yes, most likely. Am I going to follow those much easier ways, or will I reinvent the wheel? I'm thinking I'm going to reinvent the wheel, because wheels should be square, as everyone knows. So, if I find the middle of this wall at this extreme and the middle of this wall at that extreme, that gives me a ability to find, I think, a perfect right angle, because I can essentially calculate, because I have the hypotenuse, I can calculate the, I have the height, I have the hypotenuse, I have that, so I'm just able to find the current corner. I would just need to make a calculation to see what is essentially the nearest corner, whether it is one side of the wall or the other for longer doorways, and that would be a solution. It is a completely insane solution, I think, because I'm 100% certain there's a much, much easier way. However, I have fully committed to this, so I am going to do that. Okay, that just gets the bounds of z, which upon printing it gives me that edge of it. If trying to figure out how to get the actual edges of it or the other side of it, how would I do that? How would I get the opposite? Because would it just be a negative? That is -8 and 1.5. Is that just genuinely the opposite? If I go to my player, I go, nope. I go here. He is at about -8.5. That's about correct. And at about... Yeah, that works. So it is the negative. So, for finding the correct corner, and there is a bug. The bug is back. Reoccurring character, the bug. I hope it dies. Okay. What we do now is I have boundary, var boundary 2 is equal to the mesh instance at normal bounds. And the other one is I would need boundary 1 x z boundary 2z. We take all of this, we copy it, x, boundary 2x. This turns into a 0. This turns into a control x 0. We place it here, x. We place it here, x. And print every single one of them so I can read it out. 2, 3, 4. 2z x 2x. Okay. So now I have 4 coordinate points. I have the coordinate points of this, that. I have 4 coordinate points. I have... Well, these two are exactly the same, so I'm going to give myself 4 for now. So I have this, that, there, and that. Because I have those 4, and I'm trying to find this corner, I essentially need to find... I don't want to run all 4, so for creative process or for optimization, I can essentially cut them in half. where if I find the closest X edge, I then need to just find the closest one of these corners instead of going through all four and figuring out which one's closest for that. So the way it would work is, let me think. Also, can I make these invisible? I can probably make these invisible. Mesh instances. What are mesh instances? It's stuff. That's all I know. Is that it is, in fact, stuff. I'll look into it later. But for now, all I know is that it is... It's an area, right? Just realized that I'm doing this in the most convoluted way possible. I can just, because I don't want to use mesh instances 3D, instead of doing this, I can just find each corner really, really easily. Okay. Let's do something else. If I do a collision shape 3D, making it a box, and it needs to be in a node 3D, right? Area, static body, character, so yeah. It needs to be in an area 3D, or that text, that would be that use of it. The other uses, the other options are the rigid body, static. It's static. It should just be static. Static body 3D are used for that can't be moved by external forces. Okay, yeah, that is exactly what I need. Because I just need a... Nope, come on. Nope, nope. There we go. But at this point, I am just using another hitbox. I wasn't going to keep the mesh instances anyway, and these are not supposed to have what do you call it? They're not supposed to... What's happening? Right, I need to edit it from here. What are you talking about? And change the size of its shape resource instead. How do I do that again? I don't remember. Okay, so... Oh, because I know it wasn't scale, it was... So at this point, I could probably just do this. And this is a lean point. So what happens is that when the player is standing right here, it does a check, and it's able to lean by does a check on which side of the screen your mouse is on, either the right or the left. Currently just the right side, and what it will do is that it will grab this object and the closest one to the edge, and because it is the closest one to the edge, it just allows me... Yeah, okay, so... What I want to do is add export port var static 1 equals a static body 3D. Just why not? Yeah. Just lean point 1 for now. Yeah, okay. How do I grab the actual collision shape again? Okay, so... Isn't there just a way to, like... No, I don't know if there's a way. How to comment out large sections in Godot. Ah. That's useful. Does it undo it with the same command? It does. Wonderful. Okay, so static 1, okay, no wait. Var box equals static 1 I love bugs. If I remember correctly, stack audit 1 slash collision shape 3D. Oh, 3D. Print box. Does this work or will it crash? Object null. Oh, right. Get node is a thing. Static 1 dot get node collision object 3D. Is that how it's done? No. And it's collision shape. It's collision shape. It's a shape, and the shape is square. Yeah, baby. And what happens if I... Bug's back. Wonderful. If I change its name, it doesn't work, right? So if I just change its name to box... Yeah, it's object null, so it does... Then this part has to be box. Correct. Wonderful. Okay. Now that I have that... Okay, so if I do print box dot size, because it doesn't have a shape yet, it's just yes, it is a box shape 3D. Okay, so var cube is box dot shape. Print cube. And what does you do? It says it's a box shape. Hooray! Okay. One 3.781. So does that also work or no? No, it doesn't. That gives me 3.78 player module because I'm still so okay, so did I actually make this? So this is 0.5. Oh, I'm grabbing the wrong thing. Okay. I'm currently in the middle. about negative about 0.9. It's about 2. So yeah, that side's about 1. Guessing it did do it correctly, the size and length. Great. So this tells me the size perfectly. Wonderful. Okay. And now our usable cube is var cube 2 equal to box dot nope is equal to box dot size divided by 2. No, it's cube dot size divided by 2. I'm a fool, but a smart fool who tries his best. Okay, so I'm just gonna yoink this off the internet. Thank you for the code, kind stranger. Why are you yelling at me? Oh, right. Because I'm a fool. Now, if I print, and I'm going to do all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Max. Y. Max. Y. No, yes, max 7. That's perfect. Min Z. Okay. So the current Y position of the box, or 0, negative 0.5, so yeah, I can see that the bottom is about negative 0.5. So is the top. I love. Oh, somebody was watching and they left. Sad. I've changed my audio once again in case, because it was driving me mad. I still really hope that my audio's still working and everything isn't exploded, but I will figure that out in the future. Right now, I'm just trying to figure this out. So this gives me this side, that side, up, down, left, right. Essentially the middle point of just the walls. Of this, that, there, and that, and all of that, and yeah. Because if it's a and if I make it longer. Yeah, okay, so it does work when it's longer. Hooray. Okay. Okay. If I take... That's the very top. That's the very bottom. My brain is working, I think. So the current, that direction is currently negative z. So my comma. And then immediately the minimum of x is 0.5, the maximum of x is 0.5. In its position, or if I just use a player, come over here. You're a good just thing, aren't you? Okay, so the minimum x should be at around, which that is there, negative 0.5. Wait, right, it's not taking the global one, it's taking the relative one. And that's another ban, baby. Because of AI bots. Yay! I love it. I'm so good at stuffing things. Okay. Right, I can very quickly switch things around by making it so the... how do I say this? I don't know how I say this, but I say this. I can quickly transform the... these relative measurements to global measurements by just multiplying them by the global position it already has, meaning that's very simple, meaning the current objective of leaning is getting closer. Hooray for me. Right, but this test, since it has all of the... Now I just need to find which edge is closest. So, right, now I can fully begin to implement it, I'm thinking. Okay, so this is player control. Yeah. Okay, so the next step is to implement these actual movements. So if the player pressed to lean and they're able to, this movement needs to perform some checks. I'm thinking that the first thing it needs to do is figure out what side of the screen the mouse is on to determine if it's first thing it needs to do is I don't think it really matters because it does kind of, so it can perform make a raycast to the right and to the left to see if we're at an intersection, because if we're at an intersection then it will allow me to this is a weird one, because that means I would need to get a little clever with what I'm actually doing. Specifically, because the raycast the player is using can only really interact with things individually. Essentially, if I have this and this on the other side, this hitbox on one side and hitbox on the other side, if the player is in the middle here, it will make a raycast to the right and to the left, and I can check to see if I'm at an intersection. The issue is that if there was a wall right here, it wouldn't be an intersection. For this one, however, oh wait, I think that's fine. It just checks it because there wouldn't be one to the left anyway. Yeah, I think that works. I think my brain is fully functional. So I can make one for each of the four corners. 2, 3, 4. 2 goes right to that corner. 3 goes to that corner. Obviously, this is all temporary. And just with vague measurements. And the fourth one goes to this corner. Perfect. Okay. These will also, I'm thinking, be in a group for organizational purposes. That being lean, point. Okay, you're part of the new elite club of existing due to my whim. Congratulations. You won a martini. However, since alcohol is illegal here, you are now arrested. And why did that break for no reason? I don't understand these bugs sometimes. It works flawlessly, and then it just decides to break entirely for just for the hell of it occasionally. Like, that just exploded. Why? Wait, what? So wait, clicking on the wall first. What? Why does clicking on a wall? Why, that makes very little sense, but I need to write that down. Okay, so clicking on a wall I'm going to make a file, new text file. Part of scripts, this file is going to be named bugs. .txt. There we go. Bug 1. Whenever a player clicks on the wall and then clicks on a movement point, it breaks the next movement. As for why, I have no idea. But it's consistent. Meaning it's not a 1 in 1,000 fluke, it's every time. Hooray. Ah, and it permanently breaks too. Wonderful. No. Nah, I'm good. Okay, so actually, these lean points probably should be significantly longer if I'm going to do this, because essentially what I'm trying to find is the closest corner to the player, and if it gets confused with the point behind it, then, well, wait a minute, that'll mean it's... Huh. Or what I could do is, because the player moves at... Or one moment, movement points. If I'm at about here and I find out that there is a wall right here, the closest corner to the player would be this one, not the one further away. Meaning I could just do the furthest one away always. Yeah, I could just do the further one away always. That'd make it need me to make it them perfect. Make the tops and bottoms perfect squares, but that'll be fine. That should be fine. Okay. So you can go to the bottom. Function is check lean, which should return an object being the lean point. Turned currently just pass. Another function right here for function actually lean delta pass for now. And func get, what are the, how the other ones are written? Why? Okay, so get is leaning. This one as well. Pass for now. Finish. 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 There we go. Tab, tab, tab. That's weird, but I'm not gonna question it. Why should I question it? Questioning things are bad. Okay, okay, okay. What warnings? Parameter deltas never were the parameter. Lean point is there. Yeah, I know. Shut up. Just because I haven't implemented them yet. Dummy. Okay. So, right. I can... This allows me to get the minimum, maximum. I would get the... I need to take these... I need to take these points, convert them into... convert them to their global position, and compare the global position to the player. That is what I need to do. Okay, so... the thing is that when this gets you can go away too. When this gets called, I'm thinking of something similar to this. When you click, the thing is that when you release, I instantly need you to stop moving, so it will just run once. Wait, no, because I need you to constantly hold lean. I need you to hold space so long as you want to lean, and the second you let go. Or I could do it without the mouse. I could make it a toggleable. This is where controls get to it. Because currently what I'm thinking is that you are holding the spacebar, and then you can use click and hold the mouse and drag it outwards in order to look around corners. The issue is that that's a little strange. For example, if I don't release the mouse and I release the spacebar, what happens? So I could have it where you press the spacebar, just tap it, and you go here, and you can just use left and right, and the second you hit the spacebar, you return back to this point right here. Meaning that, but the thing is if I'm, that the way with the mouse will allow you to essentially lean just a little bit, lean a little bit more, or a lot, and that can essentially change, if, for example, if the killer or the enemy monster is right here, and you peek out a little bit, there's, and he's staring directly at you, you get caught. However, if he's looking like down this hallway, then he won't ever see you. So that might really not make a lot of sense. I could make it if you peek out a little bit or a lot. Maybe if I can make it a little bit dynamic, for example, if you're crouching. The thing is, if you're crouching, and if you're crouching, if you're hidden behind a chair at a movement point behind a chair, I want it to be where you can click, hold the mouse, and look up over the chair, down, or to the right of the chair, or to the left of the chair. And this can allow you to essentially just look around the room in a dynamic fashion. Which is essentially my thought process behind it, which is why I don't want to make it toggleable, meaning you need to be holding the spacebar, or I could just make it mean you hold the mouse. I could make it that, where if instead of just pressed, it's pressed and held, mouse is pressed and held, so you never use the space bar at all, and making it a lot simpler. The issue with that would be is that it would need to be tuned really, really well, because if you click on something and you're fumbling around or you're panicking, you don't want to ever accidentally lean, which is why I want to tie it to the space bar. And so there's pros and cons to everything. I think I am going to do it with the space bar. I think I'm going to do it toggleable. Meaning just pressed, and I don't need the released. This is just equals not is leaning. Meaning perfect. Okay. This is now that I know how I want my actual movement stuff to work. And because you can't exactly screw up just tapping the spacebar once, because I don't know about you, but these controls are really complicated. I mean, there's a lot to learn. Just so there's no confusion, this is just a test. It's going to be removed upon stuff happening. Okay. How do I do this? 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 I think that's going to be everything for today. Specifically because I don't think there's a lot more work I can get done in 4 minutes. I did figure out a lot of things, which makes me excited for the next session next week, but I am at a lot of things weighing on me, so this is going to be where I stop for today. Cheers, everyone. See you next time.